Also, without sparring, you don't really know how to fight.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? The Cool Geek here, and welcome back to Cool Geek Defense, a place where we geek out over martial arts and self-defense. I'm an ISSA certified personal trainer and future UFC champion, and today we'll be discussing whether or not training at home is a good idea. Let's get into it. Now, when I say training at home, all I mean is training anywhere that's not a gym/dojo. That could mean training at home using instructional DVDs, online courses, and practicing what you learned at your gym/dojo at home with friends, etc. Some of you might be wondering, why would I train at home when I can just get a gym membership or a dojo membership? Well, people train at home for many different reasons. The number one reason is money. If you or your parents or whoever pays for your stuff doesn't have enough money to pay for a monthly membership at a dojo or a gym, then you simply can't go because you don't have the money. The number two reason is if there's, say, I don't know, a global pandemic going on outside, you might not be able to go to a crowded gym to train because of different laws and restrictions, or maybe you're worried yourself. The number three reason is that the schedule of the gyms in your area don't match up with your schedule. Like if you have a busy work or school schedule, certain gyms just might not fit with your schedule. Now, an important question when considering if it's a good idea to train at home is, what can you even do at home? Now, the options include kata, shadow boxing, kung fu forms, shadow wrestling, and strength and conditioning. All of those things can be performed at home with a couple caveats.
Now that we know what we can do at home, it's also very important to note what you cannot do at home by yourself. These things include drilling with a live partner, sparring, and being micromanaged by an instructor. Now, that last one is very important because if you're drilling a technique incorrectly, you can form bad habits that would transfer over to a real fight. And if you're, say, lifting heavy weights, then you could be lifting with improper form if you don't have, say, a personal trainer to tell you how to lift, or if you don't have a spotter in order to help you not drop heavy weights on yourself. These things can be an issue. Also, without sparring, you don't really know how to fight. If you've never sparred before or gotten into a fight before, and you practice these techniques, you don't know if they really work against a live opponent. And arguably even more important, even if they do work in a real situation, you don't know how to make them work in live situations. You don't know what you're doing versus another living human being that doesn't do exactly what you expect them to. That's very important. And also, drilling with the live partner is important because you get the feel of how doing a move would work on another human being. Punching a human isn't exactly the same thing as punching a bag or a wall or whatever you punch at your house, I don't know. Also, it's kind of hard to drill a lot of grappling moves solo, and even if you do it, it's nowhere near the same thing as drilling it with a partner. As far as the limitations go with what you can't do by yourself, not all hope is lost when it comes to training at home, because you can do a variety of things to fix the problems that I listed. Number one would be go out and find a training partner. whether it be someone who trains martial arts or just a street fighter that you just so happen to know. They just need to be halfway competent at fighting. The second thing would be to hire a personal trainer or a one-on-one martial arts instructor to help micromanage you. Now, as for the instructor, you can either find one that works in your area or get an online personal trainer, me, that will help coach you long distance. There are multiple different programs and people out there that specialize in helping to coach people, as well as finding partners is not super hard. All you have to do is have some decent social skills and go out and be outgoing and meet some people. Heck, some people you might meet, say if you have a gym or something, you can meet them at your gym or a gym and invite them over to train at your home. If anything happens, just make friends in the martial arts community in general that live by you. And if there's ever a global pandemic, they might be willing to come to your house to train. So that's important to keep in mind. Also, I think it's very important to point out that training martial arts at home without any sort of structure isn't exactly gonna help you all that much. You'd have to have some sort of, say, home study course or online course for martial arts to help you. And then, like I said, implement these other things in order to help you get the most out of it. Now, with that being said, that's why sparring is so important, because if you don't have a partner, which, like I said, you can go out and find one to spar with, then you don't know how to use these techniques you're learning, and you don't know if what you're learning, say, isn't legit. So, yeah, most moves, it's pretty common sense, If you kick someone in the head, it's probably going to hurt. It's just, how are you going to make that work in a live situation? Those are the important factors. Now, I sort of mentioned getting the most out of training at home. Well, what does that really mean? What do I mean by that? Well, you get the most out of training at home when you do one of two things. You learn something from your gym/dojo and train it at home, potentially with a training partner that we discussed in the last section. Or two, learn something at home, say from a home study course or, a godly YouTube video, and then you test it against people at your gym or dojo. An example of the second option would be to, say, learn some judo from a online course and then put it to work against people in your grappling class. So you have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you do stand-up takedowns to submission. You can do something along those lines, practice it against the Jiu-Jitsu guys. And vice versa, you go and say you learn something from Muay Thai class, or heck, if you do karate from your karate class, and then you test it against your friends at home, and say you know a guy who goes to a Taekwondo school, and you can practice your karate versus his Taekwondo, or you do Taekwondo versus his Muay Thai or something. And it helps to cross-train your style versus other styles, and even against street fighters, because not all street fighters are gonna execute a proper 1-2 punch or something, or some 6-hit combo. So it's important to know how street fighters fight if you're training primarily for self-defense purposes. Then that's a very important factor, is to get a feel for how your martial arts techniques work and apply versus street fighters, and not just train people, because there is a bit of a difference. With all that being said, leave a comment telling me if you have ever trained at home before, or if you plan on training at home in the future. If you like to be cool and geek out over martial arts, subscribe and ring the bell icon.